Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
What does it mean? Yo, shut up. Leave me alone.
let's go, Kia. You got this, my nigga.
What does it mean when the world sees you before you see yourself? I'm Keo. This is diasporatic. Wagwan, ¿qué tal? By saying. A few weeks ago, the Caribbean found itself at the center of the global spotlight, not because of a hurricane, not because of a crisis, not because of any craziness that was going on in the world, but because one young creator with a camera and 50 million followers decided to walk our streets. ISO speed touched down in the islands, and suddenly millions of people around the world were watching our markets, our beaches, our kids running behind his car with our accents, our joy, our food, and our beauty. For a moment, for one moment, the Caribbean wasn't just a destination, it was a stage, it was a character, it was a feeling. And yet, as the views climbed and the clips went viral, the question kept echoing in my mind: are we benefiting from this attention? Or are we just scenery in somebody else's success story? Because here's the truth: the world loves us, loves our food, loves our rhythm, loves our spirit. But love doesn't automatically mean ownership, it doesn't automatically mean protection or opportunity. And if we don't build systems that catch the moment passes, and the money passes with it. So today, we're going to do something bold. We're going to treat the Caribbean identity like a business asset, not to cheapen it, but to finally understand its power, its strengths, its weaknesses, and its opportunities. We keep missing it, and the threats could erase us if we're not careful. Because when because when a creator can land in the Caribbean and instantly pull millions of eyes to our shores, it's not just entertainment anymore. That's market demand. That's global reach. That's proof of value. The question is, will the Caribbean claim that value or keep giving it away for free? Kila, JR, let's dive in deep. Let's talk about the economics, the identity, the diaspora. Tell me what you think. Ah, yeah. How best can we take advantage of the business asset that is our identity? Let's start off with the strengths. You know, give me something. What do we got? Who's starting off today?
All right, yo. Back on attack again as usual. So yeah, our main strength, I'll just say one that kind of affects me the most, which is the music part of it, right? So while I was going down the little wormhole of information, I was kind of wondering how many distinct genres of music really were created in the Caribbean that have been exported worldwide, basically. And from my research, is over 20. Yeah, I
That's
over
crazy.
20. That's crazy. So what I was looking at, right, is how diverse of a region we are, right? Because we didn't really just own this land from times beyond. You know what I mean? Like how
Mm,
people in Afghanistan could say their great great greats grew up on this land. You know what I mean? Nah, we were brought here, a bunch of different ones of us too, as a matter of fact. They like to call us a melting pot, right?
mm-hmm.
Because they want to eat us up, right? Because again, our culture is what it is, bro. We have affected for being such a small region, such small islands, the amount of reach and influence worldwide, globally, everywhere you go in the world, you could, like, no disrespect to Jamaica, but a lot of respect to Jamaica for what they have done for the region. Because, bro, they got big dancehall parties in Japan. I mean, proper dancehall with the proper dancers, the dress, the hairstyles,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you don't copy boring stuff. People don't, you know
Exactly.
what I'm saying, right? So we got a vibe going, right? So of course, somebody making money off of it, right? musically, we got enough artists from the Caribbean that's big artists globally in the world. By talking about even outside of our region, people make money off our culture that we
Yeah,
don't directly benefit from in no kind of way.
exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So let me jump back to Speed for a minute. Speed Speed did what he could do, which is what he always does wherever he goes. And he's a black man, so that make it even better for me. I love that. You know what I mean? That make it like 1,000 times better for me. Like I could get behind that.
Important point. Yes.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
right. So, bro broke records as well on his streaming. I'm talking about numbers. But he hit 4 or 5 islands in one day. It's like a new record for a live stream. So just saying, you couldn't really do that in too much other places. Because even if you go like Indonesia and the Philippines and them places, and you hit most of them islands, like say you hit a bunch of islands in one day, all that's still just the Philippines. You see
Yes.
what I'm saying? Over
Yes.
here,
Yes.
he hit
Yes.
nations that speak different languages, a whole different culture. Everywhere he goes, like wow, wow, wow. I mean, even just the traditional stuff for him to put in front of the camera, which is like our Caribbean vibe is like the old school thing. We don't really showcase our new school Caribbean vibe because that ain't really our culture. That's our
Yeah.
blended into the world culture now. Our
Yeah.
real
Yeah. Yeah.
culture was string bands and ringing the iron and that type of stuff. Anyhow, I sliding off the mic again for a bit. Let me give
Okay.
somebody a chance.
You got some strengths, Mikhail.
Um, where to even start? I'm sorry, I saw Speed, I got distracted. But where to even start? Um, in the same breath that JR mentioned the music, I think I want to talk about just what other people believe about us
Uh huh.
versus what we believe about ourselves.
Uh huh.
Like the gap isn't huge.
Uh
We are
huh.
often seen like globally as very chill, very laid back people um that can switch pretty easily. Like the
Yes.
hairpin
Yes.
trigger, the hairpin trigger,
Yep.
Jaja,
Ja
is
ja.
real for us. Um that's the stereotype. I don't often like to play into stereotypes or give credence to stereotypes, but it seems to be something that Caribbean people on a whole kind of um agree on.
Like
So even if it's
generally.
what yeah, even if it's what they've been told about themselves or something that they believe about themselves, that's like something that the gap isn't too huge on that. And then
Yeah.
too, I was also thinking about, so JR also mentioned the diversity, right?
Mhm.
How so many of us from so many different ethnic backgrounds and places of origins were basically brought here a couple hundred years ago.
I would say up until 100 years ago.
That's true. But brought here and had no choice but to make a life here. So there's
Mhm.
this kind of like tenacity to like kind of stare down very unyielding and very harsh environments and be like, y'all ain't, you're not going to get the best of me. Like who looks at several category 5 hurricanes in the face and decide, yeah, nowhere else in the world is good for me to live anyway. So if they come, I'm
Batten
gonna
down
write
the
it out right
hatches.
here. Where else in the world other than other insular regions like the Philippines, like the Pacific Islands, there's a certain type of like hardiness of spirit that comes with living in disaster prone areas. Like you just know
Yes.
that. And that's not, it's not unique to the Caribbean, like I say. It
No,
it
but
it helps us connect with other
right.
communities around the world where we have that in common, right?
I think what makes the Caribbean unique in that aspect,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I have to attach on to this point,
Mm-hmm.
is is because it relates to what JR was saying about like going to Indonesia or the Philippines, is there are
Mm.
small islands and they relate, but they're such bigger, there's a part of such a bigger nation
Yes.
that there's a lot more to attach to there. whereas each of these individual islands is a completely separate culture. We share a lot,
We
but
share a lot.
we share a lot, but each one of us, and we know this, each one of those islands is different than each other one, and
Mhm.
they're all, and there's reasons for that, and but that makes it unique, and that's why the melting pot becomes so unique. Sorry, I just
Mm.
wanted to attach that point.
I would also, but in the same breath, I would also make the case that other insular regions that end up being one country, multiple islands, they also have that a similar setup though. Like,
Sometimes,
yeah,
yes.
they definitely have a similar setup. Even Japan, there are certain parts
Oh,
of Japan
that's true. That's
where
true.
those natives, like those who consider themselves indigenous to Japan, are like, yeah, we're Okinawans, we're not Japanese. But we're coming back to the Caribbean.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Coming back to the Caribbean, what I do want to say that kind of brings the familial theme to mind is, so I like to play around on Twitter a lot. I like to just be there and like see the trends, what's happening. Over the last couple months, a lot of people have been talking about how different their timelines have looked, right? Haven't been seeing a lot of tweets. I don't keep calling it tweets. I'm sorry.
You can't
Sorry
call it.
to
I
that
don't
new
think you could
name.
Go
call it
ahead. We know what you're
X's.
talking.
Inbred.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
It's fine.
built in. I'm sorry at this point. But people have been saying they haven't been seeing tweets from the region, blah, blah, blah. And then with speed coming through, all of a sudden it's like this cascade. Everybody is unlocked. Everybody can see each other again. The vibes are immaculate. There hasn't been like an Island Wars showdown on Twitter since the speed stream has started. People are like following each other crazy. So what that did for me was I saw that it's like a family, right? Very close knit, where siblings will get down on each other, but the minute somebody from outside the family threatens another sibling, we all ready to be like, and what was said?
Okay,
What was
okay,
said?
okay. Let me jump in
Yeah.
here. Let me
Hold
jump.
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold
Wait,
on.
wait, nah. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I just want to bring in Romero real quick. This is not a point. Hold your point, JR. I want to bring in
I'll
Romero, our
try.
producer, real quick. Romero, I just want you to bring up a notepad for me that has the strengths. We're gonna put music. We're gonna put um resilience.
Mhm.
We're gonna put
Familial ties.
familial ties. I was gonna say community.
Yeah, no, but community ties and familial ties,
Community.
because
Okay. Okay.
the
Okay.
Northern Leeward Islands and the Virgin
Okay.
Islands, we're technically
Okay.
one family.
All right.
Very true.
I agree. I can't disagree with that one. I have plenty cousin.
Yo.
So let's share. Let's bring up that screen, Romero, if we can. If we can share the notepad. We just keep some notes here before I forget. But go ahead, JR, with your
So
point.
I'm happy that she kind of went in this direction, right? Because I had something that happened because of this same I show speed thing, right? It's pretty
Mhm.
funny, right? It made me think that like just like maybe a couple months ago, I had a big war going on, like between the family, with some people calling it curry chicken and some calling it chicken curry, right? This was huge, these big bashment between the islands, right? So now here comes this young lady who streams. She streams throughout the Caribbean, like I've seen her in Belize. I've seen her, I don't know if you've seen kids, but Trinidad for sure. She does a little music as well too. Her name is Zoe. I don't know the rest of
We'll
whatever.
try to throw her name in the description just to
Right.
shout
I
her out.
think it's Travel with Zoe or something like that. But I know she's a white girl, right? So Speed did his thing. She gets on the people's internet and she says something along the lines of, how would people have reacted if he was white? So anyhow, the warring nations of families that were all against each other, cutting throats and shit over some chicken curry and curry chicken, right? Bro, they banded together so fast and got her up out of there, man. They got her up
Oh
out of
man.
there. Like, yo. They're like, yeah, don't come back. We don't want you streaming here no more. Like, yo.
Literally everybody
Okay.
was like, you already have the answer, Zoe. We've been telling you for a couple months now.
But I mean, like, I ain't hating, right? I ain't hating. She does her thing, right? But she gotta understand the level. And we ain't talking about 50 million subscribers versus
I
6,000
actually,
subscribers.
yeah,
That's why I'm talking about with the level. I'm talking about, you think that Aisho Speed just landed on the island just on his own without the tourism departments and stuff knowing what's going on and setting up a whole play for him? She come
Right.
to the island and just stream that she on vacation. Oh, I'm here. I'm catching a ride down the road. I'm jumping in the bus. Bro, whole game plan is a game plan. He got
yeah,
places to be and times to
yeah.
be
That's
there.
like a different
Correct.
level of
That's
like,
what I'm saying. So I don't understand what her offendedness was about when he's doing a whole, like it's again with the last thing we did with Bad Bunny in the NFL. It's a two-way road
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah,
give
yeah,
him
yeah.
access to the culture at a level
Mhm.
that nobody ever else has had before, and he gives us exposure to a level that no
Right.
other streamer on earth could produce.
It's
I
a give
kind of
take.
I kind of also want to tie that back to something extremely cultural, um, in that you see a lot in small communities. It's very visible in Anguilla, and I'm fairly certain that in different communities within the Caribbean on larger islands, you will see it too. You know how Anguillians have this thing of who you for, like who your people is.
Yes.
The minute there is someone who is different, who is other, you're seeing them for the first time. It doesn't necessarily come from a place of um like immediately you're just a bad person. No, there is value in trying to figure out who you are, what are your motives for being here, because we are a small, tight-knit community. And if you're coming to upset the balance of that, we kind of want to clock you before you do
That's
anything.
fair.
Wait,
So
let
when she explained her MO, like how she just comes in and she's basically just randomly DMing people asking, "Can I stay on your couch?" We don't play the stranger danger stuff in the Caribbean like that, you
exactly,
know. We're
exactly.
very friendly people. We are
But
very friendly
to an
people here,
extent.
but we're also a very direct people.
Yes. Well,
We're
that, and
very
I think
direct.
that's a part of the friendliness. I think our honesty is a part of our strengths because we're able to deal with things a lot more upfront, and it becomes a little more uh uh you know where people stand, you know.
Mm,
You don't have to guess. I want to put this issue on a side real quick. We need to segue into weaknesses, and I think this is actually a good segue into weaknesses. I kind of forgot the point I was gonna go with originally because we kind of went for a while, but um, the aspect, oh, I remember now. The aspect that we kind of touched it a little bit there, talking about JR, but the way we're so willing, like you're talking about the argument about the curry chicken curry, but we're so willing to tear each other down so quickly. Yes, we're willing to back each other up when it comes to the outside world trying to come at us, and but we're also willing to turn that same anger on each other so quickly and tear stuff down. And I would love to relate this to politics. When you bring in a new government in the Caribbean, typically they tear down a lot of what was done in the past government. So it seems like every 5 years you have
it's
this, or every
awesome.
whatever your term is, you're having this moment where you have to rebuild and rebuild again and rebuild again and rebuild again and rebuild again. And it's never a situation where we're building on top of things and building better and having longer term plans where we can be, for lack of a better term, bipartisan. I hate to use that term, but at least working together as a community to build a better country or better nation or a region that serves like we're talking about right now. So I find that to be a weakness in my estimation. But how do you all feel?
So quick one. I agree with what you say because I was thinking something similar along the lines of not having, I wouldn't say the infrastructure in place to take advantage of, let's say, a massive boom in tourism from something like that, right? But I wouldn't say exactly it's not having the infrastructure, because everywhere we got hotels and 5-star this and that. So we could deal with that, right?
Mm,
But let's say hypothetically there was a massive boom in people coming to the Caribbean right now, just
mhm.
because of ice show speed. Let's say 200,000 people just come to the Caribbean in the next month or so. Are we ready to take that on? Do we have the play? Like, imagine Anguilla. You think if Anguilla booms off right now, crazy tourism boom, can we deal with 100,000 people a month coming to Anguilla? Ramiro?
You guys mind if I interject? I'm not trying to push my immigration, shoulders.
Yeah, but
But
you got insight. That's important.
yeah, so I'll just comment briefly on just from what I see, because I'm a port worker. I see the movement of people in and out through the ports. And strangely enough, Angola has had a weird buzz and increase of recent. Once you actually go through the social media accounts of the various stakeholders, so if you go to Ascola's page, you go through um government of Angola's page, and you see the statistics, it's like there's a very steady increase of, even right down to the day trippers. There's has even been points where we for the weekend we would have actually facilitated a movement of, let's say, almost over 1,000 day trippers. And it's like, a lot of people watching and be like, what are they coming over here to do? But there has to be something here in Anguilla that people are gravitating to. When you look at the bigger market of, St. Martin has the casinos, they facilitate cruise liners. Overall, like, they have one holistic tourism package. Our package used to always be like the high-end hotels and the beaches and whatnot, but that experience is something that you can't fully consume within a couple of hours after you jump on a ferry boat and you come here. So it's like, just to even piggyback off of what Show Speed was doing, because this guy goes to an island, spends about 4 or 5 hours, does a set of activities, streams it, captures it, um, and then that's about it. So I don't know if Angola is secretly becoming a hub for creatives. They piggybacking off of the fact that Angola is so small that it's actually easy to get in the typography itself is easy to drive, it's flat. You could get from point A to point B in a matter of what? A half hour could take you from, Island Harbor and then back to the west. So I guess people are slowly sharing that trust me, from based on when everybody comes to the port and they say, and you ask them, okay, what you guys can do for the day? They can quickly mention Savvy Beach Club, they can mention Fun Zone, they can mention, Show Me East, or potentially Silly Key. A lot of persons even asked if they could actually do offshore key trips. So the potential to grab this particular market and, even invite, because apparently, so DJ Khaled loves it here in, for
Can
whatever for whatever. Yeah, go ahead, Q, if you got
I
something to
wanna I
interject.
wanna jump in here, because I see this as a opportunity potentially
Mm.
as we talk about this. Uh, could Anguilla become something? And this is specifically for Anguilla, but maybe even all small islands. I mean, I guess some of them are already in this aspect, but um, become more of like a Disneyland. Like maybe you sell a day pass. Maybe you sell, something where the people of Anguilla are seeing more of a benefit is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I
Instead of like instead of people, because you're naming specific businesses,
mm,
and I understand that, and that's good and it's great. But a lot of those businesses are so secluded from the rest of the population that how much do we really see?
and
What
I
are we
agree with
really
you
seeing
in
from
that
that?
regard. And one thing I would
So,
comment to is, not to cut you off, Mikila, but
mm,
St. Martin itself actually sees the potential in Anguilla. We ourselves can capitalize on it. Like, you realize the amount of
Ooh,
charter boats, the catamarans, from, businesses like Boomerang, that,
boom, more opportunity.
yeah,
mhm.
and it's like, these are people that they don't even themselves do like the whole excursion thing in St. Martin. They grab the passengers from
And
wherever
they
in St.
bring them to
Martin and they
Anguilla.
bring them here for the day.
Right, right,
And then
right, right.
shuttle them back
But
over.
then again, that's also taking advantage of an opportunity that Anguilla has to offer.
Right,
I
right.
think we touched a little bit on it last week. JR brought it up, and then we spoke about how it having that, trying to make Anguilla a more accessible destination, like market it as a more accessible destination. Technically, I don't want to say pit influencers against the actual machine, like the government backed machine of the tourist board. I don't want to say it like that, because at the end of the day, I feel like the tourist board would also be very welcoming of travelers, or to travelers who come here for a slightly different experience, right? We know what our global tourism product is. Quiet, tranquility, lose the crowd, find yourself.
Thank
That's what
you.
St. Martin is capitalizing on. When
I
you
was
come off of
waiting.
a crowded cruise ship, do
I
you
was
want to
waiting.
experience
I
exclusivity?
understand that.
I was
Great.
waiting on that.
Jump
I
on the
think
charter boat. We can take you to quiet little Anguilla.
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
waiting
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
that. That's
No,
our
and that
That's
makes
main.
sense.
That's our main thing.
Diversification in the product makes sense. I want to expand this argument out to the broader Caribbean a little bit and just speak on the concept of um uh excursions between islands.
mm-hmm.
And making that part easier because we talk about community and the sense of community that we all share, but not being able and not we're not able to like share that community between islands so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we used to be able to do that easier, but now with the, how global politics works and passports and this and that, it's a little more tough now,
Yeah.
with independent islands and stuff. If there was ways to connect islands with excursions and, you know, allow for this, a smoother, transport of travelers like you're saying, would it would
Mm-hmm.
it would it make it that much of a difference? Is that the a threat we're facing where if we're not doing that, or is that like an opportunity or something that we can capitalize on? Because yeah, I think about that a lot actually.
That's also one of the things that came up that I have been seeing, a theme that I've been seeing come up, both online, but also, I'm about to hit the pageantry angle here. Every single time you have a regional pageant,
Hmm.
and we're preparing a delegate for question and answer, the issue of intra-regional travel and how expensive and inefficient it is always comes up. Like, it doesn't matter what the question is. Every time you get what would you advise governments to help like optimize regional integration, they always gravitate towards the answer of making travel cost effective and efficient between Caribbean territories. And it makes sense. If you can't move between islands with a certain level of ease, it it creates these barriers. It creates a lot of barriers. It creates
Hmm.
um these kind of fences where you're not able to kind of see how similar you are to your Guada cousins, right? Versus, that Anguilla and St. Martin are very similar in terms of like culture, mentality kind of stuff. But they are also different based on like their population makeup, which countries administer them, right? What are the metropolitan countries that influence their culture on the ground, right? You go then you look west to the VI, and you're like, yeah, we as a people are very similar, but there are also things that differ over there, bits of culture that differ over there, because their heritage is Danish. They were once
Mhm.
owned by Denmark, right? So there's
Mhm.
a lot of there's a lot of difference and a lot of like traditional stuff that slightly differ because of where some of their cultural heritage comes from. And if you're not able to get to those countries, and incidentally, if you listen to all of these territories they've called off, they're not independent nations. They're administered
Mhm.
by larger countries. So that is another layer of like, that's another layer of barriers to access and barriers to like community building that exists in the Caribbean. And it's wild. I wish that it wasn't the case, but it's so wild. It is so wild.
Wait, it's simple. Caribbean identity is both a cultural lifeline and an underleveraged commercial advantage. If the diaspora and creators build the infrastructure, not just product, we could actually take advantage of it. Uh, there could be more to be said, but I want the viewers to tell us one more Caribbean product, artist, creator that you think deserves more global attention. Maybe something that wasn't showed on Speed in one of those islands, or something that you have on your island that is super unique that everybody needs to know about, you know? So subscribe, review, submit ideas for future episodes if you have any ideas, and yeah, one love. Big up yourself.